Tingle, tingle. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Nall, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. And I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. So, hoping that everyone is doing as well as possible under the circumstances. And it looks like Idby's in the house. Alex, the shaman. And did I miss somebody? Anyway, greetings. Oh, hey, Miss Pearl. Greetings to you all. This is Tuesday morning, um, April the 5th. Yep, at 12:04 a.m. 4/5/2022. Anyway, I hope you all are doing well. Um, I know, hey, Miss Chloe. Yeah, some folks were like, what's happening with Hawkeye? Where is he at? What's he doing? I have been very busy. Lots of stuff around here that was broken. Some of it's only partially broken now. Septic tanks and the water heater and the pump and the water and oh my God, it's just one thing. And my truck just 1 minute I think I've got it running and the next minute it ain't. And a dear friend that was staying with me had arrangements to go back home on Sunday. Drove up to Albany, Georgia, about 45 miles from here, and got there 8 o'clock. Bus ain't supposed to be there till 8:10. We wait till 8:40, no bus. He gets on his little app to follow where the bus is. Come to find out, the bus left a minute before we got there. So now he just bought this bus ticket, and because they left early, got there early, left early, um, he had to spend 2 more days here, lose the fare, lost a room for he had made arrangements. So then rescheduled for the same time tonight, right? 8:10 p.m. Albany, Georgia. We get there at 7:30, right? Planet they ain't gonna miss us this time. 8:30 comes. 9 o'clock comes. Where's the bus? And there's people there in Albany waiting. Where's the bus? The bus is tore down between Moultrie and Albany. It doesn't get there until 9:55. So I stayed up in Albany with my friend, and but he's finally on the bus and out. But he's going to miss his change when he gets to Macon or wherever. He's going to miss his because he's 3 hours late now. Going to miss his um, rented a room in Chattanooga, and ain't going to get till like 4 in the morning. And that's not so paying for a night's sleep and rest and all that ain't going to be there but a couple of hours. I mean, thank you, Greyhound, right? And not counting, I mean, it's not like I really had anything to do, but it is not just outputting to the people and the passengers and so forth, but it's the people who take them and wait and pick them up and all of that too. So what's the deal? We don't know. Yeah, I think he got part of it back, but he had get this. It was their fault for leaving early, but he had to pay $20 to allow them to give him another ticket. It was like to do the processing or something, which they did in about 5 minutes on the phone. Oh my God, I just what a racket. What a racket, what a racket, what a racket. So, but anyway, so these last 2 weeks, especially, have been real busy. I've had company here at the house. And so, not as freeing, not that he was a bother. Okay, don't get me wrong. But in chatting and stuff, I didn't do any videos the last couple weeks like I kind of sort of wanted. But here I am. Well, Isby, he tried hitchhiking down here. He tried hitchhiking north. And because of COVID and stuff, nobody picks up hitchhikers anymore. And I gave him some tips, and I'm like, dude, man, you have got to have, hey, Tracy, how are you? You have got to have a cardboard sign saying where you want to go, even if it's just to the next town. You got to let people know. And, but it's his first time out. He wanted to come down and, of all things, visit me, which I still regard that as a high compliment. And we went, was able to go down on the river the other day. Oh my God, am I sore? Oh my God, am I sore? Oh my God, am I sore? That's for another day. But oh my God, am I sore? Yeah, I used to hitchhike all over the place back in the old days. And, there were some Looney Tunes, but I've picked up some Looney Tunes too, but made it, did it, and whatever. And my dear friend Michael, um, we're now good friends, I think, came down. He'd watched a couple of videos and he'd heard me say, anybody want to come down and go kayaking? Come on down. I got a place to stay out there if you want to camp. And he took me up on the deal. So, and he helped me out while he was here. It was a very nice visit. And I continue to thank this channel, YouTube, and everybody, all y'all out there, because he took me up on the deal. He's the first person who actually took me up on let's go to the river in the kayak kind of thing. And um, and I think he was a little surprised that I was like, yeah, you can camp down in the woods. And we went all the way to the river, several places. I mean, we went some show enough through some high stake woods and brambles and briars and weeds and water. And, but it was all good. It was all fun. Um, I've transplanted two large blueberry bushes that were a gift from some friends of mine, and they're doing excellent. They were here the other day, and I took her out and I said, look at how your blueberries are doing." And she was just jumping up and down and doing what I call the pee pee dance. She was like, "Oh, look at them blackberry, or look at them blueberries. I've never had this many on them when they were at my house, and look at all of them." And she was just tickled to death that her blueberry bushes were thriving here. And and that they had settled in and the roots taken over and that kind of thing. So, Adventures in the Swamp with Hawkeye. Yeah, I do have some video I got to upload, but since I'm by myself, well, me and the cats and the dog, But I got to say that Duggar has been an excellent puppy. I took him in the back of the truck, and he had to ride up there to Albany's with us, and he was in the back of the truck instead of sitting in front of the truck with me all the time because there ain't room for three of us in the front seat. And so, um, oh, Chloe, he has really been a good boy. And even Michael said, he goes, man, this really is a good dog. He don't bark at all. I mean, once in a while, but at 2 o'clock in the morning, he'll jump up and run to the window and that'll just scare the crap out of me. you know, hey Barry, how are you? I've been wanting to call you and talk to you, but I have been busy. But it's all good. Um, I've made forward progress with a lot of stuff. Had to back up a little bit to get it, but sometimes you got to take 2 steps back to make one good step forward. You got to, make sure you don't step in the poo. You know what I mean? But anyway, and still doing my check-in and so forth with what's going on and having chats with some other folks and phone calls and just stuff. And The word that came to me the other day was desperation. And my spirit guide said, "You need to think about this." And I was like, "What?" Excuse me, but hell, I've been desperate most of my life. Why do I need to be thinking of desperation? And my good friends up yonder said, "Not for you, you damn fool, for other folks." And I went, well, okay. you know, it's for them, right? Yeah. Not necessarily you, but them, folks. And I gotta say, as much as I have to agree with this, okay? I have to agree with it. These seem to really be desperate times, okay? No, not so much for me. Because I can roll with the punches, and I remember when things were bad or worse or whatever, and we've always made it through one way or the other. We've always survived. I keep reminding people, and if you don't know about the Great Dust Bowl that happened in America, you should look it up. We thought America thought we were all dead. Okay. Kansas and Oklahoma and out there, just nothing but dust. People dying, dead, animals. You know, we made it. Okay. We're still here. A lot of farmers around here are planting, not but a couple miles from here is, I don't know, 10 acres of cabbage being grown, and fairly organic, Um, uh, okay. So there are farmers around, big farmers around here, planting lots of vegetables, lots of greens, lots of stuff, corn going in. Now we're not the breadbasket, but Georgia accounts for a large amount of different types of agricultural products and things. So it's like, okay, um, and I'm sure that every state has their own amount of people. Folks are worried about the big box places, the Wally Worlds and all. And there are smaller stores that are almost fully stocked with all kinds of stuff. And they ain't missing nothing, Like what? Was in a store in a little community called Veda. It's almost time, ain't it? 16. um, but there was a Dollar General store. I walked in there and the place was immaculate. And the shelves, the freezers, the fridges were all absolutely packed with stuff. There wasn't a blank spot on, and I walked around the store going, "Holy crap!" I mean, um, the pharmacy department, just closed this. I mean, dog food. They didn't have too much dog food. I noticed that that's still a little shy in places. But so now the local store over here, just 6 miles away, where Veda's 30 miles away, there are shortages on the shelf. Not every shelf is packed full of stuff. Veda's a small community, but the thing is, the store's packed. If I can't find something here, I'm gonna ride over to Veda. I like to go over the river anyway, and what the hell? I'm right over to Veda and gonna go to the grocery store. Cause man, but to the point though, it ain't so desperate every blinking where, and the sign in the window says desperation is everywhere, and that's really not the case. It really isn't the case. So as desperation is being pushed upon us with the chaos, I read another run another headline today that Biden and the Americans hold open the the idea that we will use nuclear weapons if necessary. But we don't even live over there. What the hell, right? But I mean, so we're still going to use nuclear weapons. We're still going to kill a bunch of people. We, the United States, right? We have the option open to hit that button and go blow up a bunch of people with nukes. What? So, desperation. The United States still holds open. What people are going now? There are people who are absolutely freaking out about this stuff, and I look at it and go, "You should have been around in the '60s in Tampa," but I'll leave it at that. So and you think that Putin and well, who knows about Crazy Joe, right? He could go, "What's this button for?" Boom. Oh shit, but they ain't going to let him near that button. You hear me? There are people going, "Joe, no, no, we got this little Tonka toy with a button on it. You just push that. Beep beep. Yeah, how about that, Uncle Joe? Beep beep." Yeah, he's about daft. Um, but in the desperation of these times, the prognosticators of the apocalypse, who've been prognosticating the apocalypse now for quite a while, right? And oh my God, we're gonna die again this month. Oh my God, we're gonna die one more time again this month. Holy jeez, many Christmas, please. But the desperate times calls for desperate measures. So the desperate measures I I see in this instance is kind of simple. Um, it's that people don't know where to turn, and they feel that they need something spiritual, and so they're desperate. So they join a club, some kind of spiritual, or maybe even the Catholic Church, for God's sakes. Happy 20. So one of the things, now I like this Matt guy on the Remnant video, Remnant TV, whatever, discussing things Catholic, which I'm not, but I like to keep up with, see what the opinion is. And he's like, the indigenous peoples of Canada are over in the Vatican, like just the other day or whatever, and saying that the Pope should come to Canada and apologize to the Canadian indigenous people for bringing Catholicism, the church, to the provinces. Now he went off on that about, don't these native peoples know that the Catholic Church brought the hospitals? Yeah, but he ain't done his homework neither, brother, because they also brought syphilis and smallpox, and they also did a lot of things to the children because the children wanted to speak their native language. And the Methodists were bad about this too, because we had people to discuss this in personal conferences and um, what else would I was there in person lectures. There you go, listening to their lectures about what the different religions, Christian religions, did to Canadian peoples. And oh no, the Pope, they didn't do nothing like that. No, 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 no. Listen, they still ain't apologized for the crap that happened at Most Holy Redeemer and what happened down in Tampa to me and other people that I know. Not a fucking word has been said about, oh, well, we're sorry about you Catholics. But now the indigenous people want the Pope to come to Canada and apologize to the Canadian indigenous people for bringing, quote, the light of Christ to, like, I think they were already happy before they had to bring all this crap. They, it's one thing to bring the idea of Christ, it's another thing to wipe out traditional native peoples in the name and the sake of the Holy Roman Catholic Church or the Methodist Church or the Episcopal Church. Now I haven't heard too much about the Episcopals. They seem to be like pretty good folk, and I know an Episcopal priest and his wife, wonderful people. But this idea though, and I'm kind of like, I want the Pope to come and get hand me a check for all the years of therapy that and all the times I tried to kill myself because of, quote, his priest within the parishes in the diocese of uh, Tampa St. Petersburg. I think it's St. Petersburg, but to the point. So now I don't agree with Mr. Matt on this subject. As you know, oh, those indigenous people were so wrong. I mean, the Catholic Church brought Christ to them. Yeah, and what did it net them? Half of the indigenous people were wiped out one way or the other, right? Due to sickness, they were given blankets with smallpox. I mean, in the name of Christ, they murdered and killed and subjugated the native peoples. And but it's okay because, you know, to some of these folks within the Catholic Church was right in what they did. The Catholic Church went over there and made hospitals. Well, if you hadn't made them sick, they wouldn't have needed the hospitals. I'm just saying. So, but in this chaos of spirituality, so the indigenous people are wrong about this. I mean, they were invaded. It's okay. Yeah, all the nuns, they'd come over and help the children. That was because the parents were murdered and subjugated. And so now there's all these orphans. Where do the orphans come from? The parents didn't abandon them, the parents were dead. And a lot to blame because of what the church's actions were doing and not allowing for the indigenous people. The children, I've met people my age who grew up in Canada and in Alaska where the churches would literally beat them if they spoke their native tongue. And it's like, oh yeah, but it's the church. They're guilty. Oh, well, we think it's a waste of time. And now here's the other side of the coin. Pope Francis is like, oh, y'all come to the Vatican and we'll have a prayer meeting and we'll do a powwow out on the Vatican Square. I don't agree with that neither. Okay. Only from the standpoint as a person with Native American heritage and also baptized to Catholic against my will. Um, that I feel wronged in both areas. Wronged by the Native American culture in that, well, you're a half breed, you don't count. That's not right. But that I know a lot of Native American folks who are Christian. At every powwow I've ever been to, they've always said a Christian prayer first at the powwows. And then they do the prayer for the creator and then they drum. So people that say, well, then people are just savages. And no, they need to have an apology. I want an apology along with all the other folks. But it was the Catholic Church. Oh no, they can't do no wrong. That's my point. The church, just because it's the church, don't mean that, well, they're the Catholic Church. They've been doing underhanded things for a long time. Okay, moving on from that topic. But what it does in desperation, like for me several years ago, to try to get some kind of answers to this, and why are they still not talking about it, and why do they still cover it up and put it under the table? And that's what pisses me off, not because I'm not a Catholic or anything, um, but to the point that um, they're allowing things within the Catholic Church, I think is heretical to the Catholic Church. All right. So if the Catholic Church wants to change, okay, fine. But then they ain't the Catholic Church no more. Okay. I'm just saying. Francis is doing stuff with, having Um, I have relatives who are gay. It's not about that, but it is about the church's rules. And he ain't following the church's rules. And with that, I got to agree with other Catholics. And with with uh, Krill, the patriarch of the Orthodox Church in Russia, has stated the reason there's a war in Ukraine is because of all the gay liberation and all the gay rights parades and stuff over there. No wonder they were pissed about that. Cosmic hugs to you too. Yeah, so my point is that it's okay for folks to pull open a drawer and say, look, this is what's wrong. And oh, Francis is bad or this or that. But okay, let's drop that. What about the subjects that actually have really, I mean, and there's no mention of that, okay? Just left off hundreds of thousands, probably millions of boys and girls who, in some way, were pedoed, beaten, or mistreated by the Catholic Church. Oh, but then indigenous people, they ain't got no right to complain. Well, so now to that same point, I don't feel, because it should be the Pope's duty. I ain't standing against the Native American or the Native peoples of Canada, but I wouldn't want to do a drum at the Vatican. Maybe, to try to get rid of the evil spirits that's there. Um, but from the Pope's point of view, it should be against the rules for the native folks to come and do a powwow in the Vatican. That's sacrilege. Okay. Now, I personally don't care. Good, right, good on you, Canadian um, indigenous. But from a standpoint of what the Pope's supposed to be doing, he is not doing his job. Okay. Don't care. But I'm just saying, why is this important? Because it is making people's spiritual consciousness go haywire. They don't know what to think. What? Well, I thought the Catholic Church and this and that, but they are promoting gays in the Vatican and this and that, and everybody, ooh, happy. Well, wait a minute. I thought they were the Catholic Church and that they had moral standards. And from that standpoint, I want to say the Catholic Church is doing a horrible job. I ain't in the church, don't care, but this is part of the spiritual warfare. So even if the Catholic Church was like doing its job and everybody was hunky dory and people were apologizing for the nasty things that the church has gotten away with over the years, absolutely, and those people who like want to push it under the carpet. No, 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 y'all listen. This really did happen, and I'm one of the people. Okay, I'm sorry. Believe me or not, I don't care. I know what happened to me, and I know it wasn't some Jewish rabbi. I know it wasn't some spiritualists from the Buddhist community. It wasn't from some guy that was named Mohammed, you know. Um, so there are certain things that I know and other people know, and that, wait, no. So, but chaos within the churches, chaos within the spiritual communities, in that they all want to sing kumbaya together, but they don't really see eye to eye on the issues. Well, no, it's the Ten Commandments. No, maybe only seven. Well, maybe we can live another one out, but, you know, and we're going to kind of use the Bible sort of like a backdrop. We're not really going to follow it, but then why are you a church at all? I'm just asking. Now, they don't have to be a church and people don't have to go there, but that's what is continuing to confuse people. I thought these folks had it right. I thought the Catholics were really good people. Um, I thought that, the Presbyterian were good folk. Now, I ain't heard nothing about the Presbyterians neither, but um, them Southern Baptists have got some dirt in their closets, let me tell you. Um, And there's a big, large Baptist community around here, like up in Norman Park. There is the Baptist College. Okay. You have to drive right through town. It's on your left as you go north. So, not all Catholics are bad. Not all Baptists are bad. I mean, it ain't about that. But it is about they want your spirituality. They want you to worship God at their church. And they want you to give not only of your spirit, but you also got to give them some cash, right? They got to keep the lights on. You got to tithe. If you're going to follow the Bible, you got to give up some of this. So the desperate people who are unsure of their spirituality, they can't, things are so nutty, they're almost afraid to believe that they're okay. I mean, are you dead yet? No. Well, then you must be okay. Well, yeah, but I went to the store the other day and there were some empty shelves. Okay. A lot of us have been warning you about the supply chain thing. It's gonna, I think it was Drake Bailey and somebody else has mentioned it also after the fact. But Drake and somebody else went into a nice dissertation about how screwed up, you know, that just in time supply chain is. They tainted, don't even follow. Yeah. And it's been interesting. I don't know, 5, 6, maybe even 7 years ago, I told people that I'd been studying Revelations. There's some way early videos, if they're still up, where I talked about Revelations and the different thises and that's. And I have been mentioning for years, I believe and have believed that Francis, Pope thingy, is the Antichrist. And now there are other people, and it's sort of picking up steam. Uh, what about Francis? Is he the Antichrist? I'm just saying. I think my information was pretty good back then when other people, because it was divine information that I got about the Pope and about that he's the Antichrist and to beware. And now there are other folks who are coming out going, I think he might be the Antichrist, but we don't really want to speak bad about him. Hey, Jewels, how are you? And so it's not about me being right. a smidgen, maybe. In that I'm proud to know that the information that I received from my guardian angels and spirit folks and stuff seems to be kind of pretty much proving it, you know? Um, and and also simply from my own observations. But other people are like, well, it's this, it's that. And they're starting to come back around, maybe reading Revelations in a different light. And they're going, it may be the Pope, especially because of his actions. Okay, so with that said, there is an awakening of peoples who thought the Antichrist was this or that or over here or over there, you know, and it's like, wait a minute, maybe that some bitch is the head of the Vatican. Maybe he's the one. And there's a lot of people there, buku bunches of money. He's sending, Pope is sending messages to the Davos group, to the Bilderberg group. Oh, you nice people over there at the Bilderberg group. What? You know, um, he should be condemning these people, not praising them. Praise of men lived after them. So let it be with Caesar, you know, from Mark Antony's speech. But the thing is, though, everybody's even more confused than before. Okay. So the desperation of trying to find the truth, the desperation of trying to find that spiritualness that keeps us connected, that, you know, for me, it's just there. Uh, you know, I have accepted 100.1% and ain't going back, you know? So, but other people are you know a little hesitant, like, well, I don't know. I thought I had this figured out. Well, what's wrong? I don't know. The world is so crazy, and the world is this. Okay, and well, I don't know. You mean you still don't know if you're like if you love Jesus, kind of thing? Well, yeah, yeah, I still do. Okay, then, do you still believe in the Holy Spirit of things? You know? Well, yeah, yeah. Yeah. You believe in the Creator of all things? Well, yeah, 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 yeah. Then what's your problem, buddy? I mean, why should any of this that's going on now shake your basic faith? So I want to be here tonight, this morning, and say, listen, folks, if your faith is being shaken by this, just take a deep breath. Please don't let it. You know, you can be solid in your faith, solid in who you are. To hell with the rest of the world, whatever they think. It's like, you know, having to work around the dead bus this evening that you know you can track these things with GPS now. I didn't know that, but the bus sat on the side of the road for an hour and a half between um, Moultrie and Albany. It ain't but like 30 miles or 35 miles, so it shouldn't have been that hard. But no bus, right? Anyway, um, so the confusion of it, not being able to get in touch with Greyhound and find out are there people dead? Did they have an accident? Did they blow a tire? Is it did their engine fall out, or maybe their transmission, or is there another bus on the way? Oh well, you should see the bus. Here's the reply: soon. You should see the bus soon. It's on the highway again. Oh, look, the little GPS thing is, I think it's moving. Oh, hell, I don't know. 5 minutes later, still in the same spot. Okay. You put faith in other people, right? So now you're late. Now you lost money. Now you're pissed and you're desperate. My dear friend, I gotta pray for him tonight because no idea if he's even going to get a connection because of the lateness of the bus and through money he's going to have to spend. That was not his fault. and losing a night that he booked for a room because he can't get there because the buses broke down. I mean, okay, but that's you. It pushes you into a desperate situation. Now what do I do? I'm trying to get home, and I had these plans, and I had it all worked out. I had bookings. I was going to go here, and now what do I do? My dear friend is on the bus as we speak. Michael, I do. I told him, I said, I'm going to be praying for you the whole way tonight, just that you make it up there and can get some sleep. And, with all the issues that we've had the last couple of days with silly bus route, right? And having to reschedule and lose money and spend more money to get a ticket changed. I mean, it's just absurd. But see, that's what's happening in the world, though. They're changing stuff up on you. You made plans, and all of a sudden the bus don't arrive or your plane's late, and confusion, 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 and it sets up situations of desperation. No food on the shelves. People are worried. People are scared. I went down. I went down to the seed place and bought, $20 worth of seeds. But then I'm gonna. Oh, we burned one of the big pile. Oh, I'm sorry. Is anybody here? Anybody here tonight? Did you see the bonfire drum? I interrupted myself. It's 12:45 a.m. in the morning time, and I do wish you all love and prayers, and with love and affection from the infinite creator. Honest, Chloe, I mean, I know you like me and all, but um, I haven't looked at it yet. Like I said, I've been busy with stuff. But Spirit was really on me to do that live the other night, and it had to be a drum. Um, it was a really nice fire. Oh, did it? Oh, it radiated through my whole body. I thought it said booty. I'm sorry. I don't have my glasses on. All the way through your booty, Hunk Louie. That's not what she said. My eyeballs are reading sideways. Oh, hey, coleslaw. So could you hear it? I mean, did you just hear the drum, or could you hear me? Could you hear the song? I guess. I hate rewatching my own stuff because I still don't know if somebody else liked it or not. You know what I mean? I'm way too critical of myself. It was loud and clear. Good, good, good. I'm glad you could dance. I couldn't. My hips were locked, and there's stumps and roots and crap out there on the ground. I would have literally murdered myself. And it was too big of a fire to dance around. Yeah, but I absolutely felt compelled to grape modern. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Thank you. Okay, good. Um, because it really felt special here. And one of the things that has been kind of not really bothering me, that that's not the right word. I think just present in my head is that every place on this planet is sacred. And I keep talking about my place. And Michael was here, and I asked him, I said, "So, what do you think?" He goes, it is pretty down here. It is totally different. And being down on the river. I kind of wanted to interview him, but he's a shy type person, and I didn't want to put anybody on the spot. But so in my questioning, I'm like, so what'd you think of the river? And he's like, man, that's totally different than what I expected. And being down in the swamp and how we were paddling and places we were going, he was like, man, there's just this is different. I said, so good or bad? Good. And I said, well, that's because you came early. Ain't no skeeters, right? But how many years have I been talking about, come this time of year where there ain't no bugs, and the water's up and the weather's nice. But anyway, but so um he had a positive experience. And I told him today before I got on the bus, I said, listen, I said, "Oh, I know we talked about a lot of stuff while you were here, and we've had fires outside and been on the river and all. And I said, but if there's anything that I would want you to remember, because he's a young man, in your future time, is I don't necessarily want you to remember me as much as I want you to remember the feeling that you had while you were on the river and floating." And when we were on the river the other day, I said, I said, you get this feeling, and it was the sun's going down, the stars are coming out, the temperature's cooling down, the nighttime's taking over the river. There ain't nothing nowhere around, no cars, no bikes, no, no lights, nothing. Just you and Mother Nature and on the river, on the water. And I said, I don't necessarily want you to remember me, but I want you to remember the feeling that you had. That just can't explain it feeling. And he's like, okay. So now, whether he remembers it in 20 or 30 years or next year, but I'm hoping. So, and I told him, I said, that's my sin in life here as I get older. And he goes, what's that? And I said, my sin is I want to have people come down and experience this same thing. That's my sin. I want folks to experience this enjoyment, whatever they get out of it, you know. But it was like it was cool, it's different, and all that. So, but anyway, I am still crazy in that, and still give me a call, show up, we'll figure it out. I don't think he will either, Chloe. Oh, I'm tickled that he came down. And here's one thing. Um, wait, you don't have your light count enabled. Well, it says 11 thumbs up. Is be okay. Yeah, Chloe. And I didn't. Here's the thing. I didn't say anything to anybody about anybody coming or showing up or nothing. And a friend of mine asked me. They said, "Why?" And I said, "No offense, that ain't none of your business." Well, I wasn't trying because if it didn't work out, if he showed up and he was like after my money or trying to rape me, nah, I doubt that. But um, just really something bizarre. It was nowhere near like that. But we'd talked on the phone, we'd communicated, and here's the thing: I said, for just before I got on the bus, I said both of us went out on a limb. I had to go out on the limb to say, yeah, come on down and trust in the Lord, if you will, trust in the spirits. And I said, and you took a chance because, but he met me watching videos and whatever and knowing my talk. So he knew of me a whole lot better than I knew him at all. But the fact that he was honorable, polite, and sometimes a little too quiet, I couldn't hear him, but a delightful young man. And I absolutely wish him well. And I will say this, he's on a journey to learn about life, and he's not had experiences that somehow he feels that he should. And I was like, so dude, just be careful when you do it. Don't take any wooden nickels, was my one of my phrases I used. But to the point though, in this time, in this time of desperate times, as people would like to put it on us, there are desperate things within a couple of hours and stressful and trying to be there, and then you miss a bus and then you this, and that's some desperation. He didn't show it, okay? Although I could tell there was a change in his tone of voice. I had changed because I was pissed, not for me. I still did the same thing I was going to do, but that he was inconvenienced again, and that, yeah, I had to drive him to Albany a second time. And yeah, it cost me another $20 in gas because at $4 a gallon, it don't take long. But that he wanted to pay me for the gas, and I just said, "No, get on the bus. You've had enough trouble, you know." So, and Michael, if you hear this, I'm not dissing you, but yeah, it did cost me money. He paid for a lot of his own stuff. I volunteered to pay him because I couldn't pay him money, but I told him I'd feed him. And so I just want to say the boy can eat. I should have got more groceries, but the boy can eat. So, but I promised him food while I was here because that's all I could afford. And he paid me way more in labor and helping me to straighten some things out, helping with the bonfires and so forth. And he was behind the camera the other night during the bonfire and drum thing. So absolutely, thank you so much, Michael. Uh, y'all join with me, but we wish you well on your journey. And he hangs out, he lurks in the background with us sometimes. So, Michael, I'll be waving at you. Can I pay you to pick something? Oh, you'd never forget time with me, Chloe? Probably not. I just, I kind of make that impression, whether on purpose or not. Hey, Diane, did I say hi, Diane? Uh, you must be, you must be talking to Diane, Chloe. Pay you to pick something up. Actually, he said that I did pretty good on some things. I I baked chicken on an oak fire with charcoal last night. And to me, it's got that oak wood over the fire taste. It ain't, with some barbecue sauce too. So yeah, we love you, Michael. Okay, you talking to me about pay something? Okay, what is it? You'd love to own something that was mine? Boy, now that would be a lot of shit, Chloe, because there's a bunch of stuff in this house. Lord have mercy. I was actually thinking of of to get rid of stuff, since ain't nobody really showed up that I can pawn stuff on them. Like a not really an auction, but sort of a giveaway. In other words, I got this thing here. It's just I don't want to throw it away, but if you want it, you got to pay for the shipping because I don't want to make any money off of anything. But I'm too poor to like just send people stuff. I can't afford that. Uh, but um, if somebody wanted something or whatever, so I might be pulling items out and go, look, I want to get rid of this, but I don't really want to throw it away. You want it? It weighs 2 pounds, and send me $10 and I'll ship it. But I mean, honestly, if some of y'all, if you wanted it bad enough, I would ship it to you. But man, after spending all this money on my truck that still don't run right, we're getting closer. But anyway, but and I wished I was richer, but actually, I collected dirty socks that were washed, and I made hand puppets with them. I went to schools and churches, and we did different types of um, workshops, puppetry workshops, and I saved up old tube socks and stuff like that. Hey, you got some old socks in the drawer? Okay, wash them up so they smell good. Or if you want them to stank a little bit, leave some of that stank on there. Or you can put that stank on there after you make the puppet. But anyway, but how to make sock puppets and design them and things and stuff like that. And so I have great big bags of clean but old, quote, dirty socks. You made a blanket out of old socks. Wow, that's interesting. I'm in the process now of having way too many socks, and I don't do um, um, the teaching thing anymore. Maybe here's an idea to quote, earn extra money in my old age. If I did a seminar and used an old sock like I do and made a hand puppet on video live and said, okay, I just made this puppet. If someone wants this puppet, then bid on it. And the highest bidder gets it. And make sure that it covers shipping. I'll give you $1. I'll give you $1.10. I'll go $1.15. No, I don't know. $1.16. That's my highest bid. Okay, you know. But along with my landscaping things, which is with the help of Michael, we transplanted two large blueberries that are doing very well, and eight different fruit trees that were um, dug up, watered down, and then transplanted out on the property. And these turn into like large um, citrus tree type thing. Looks like I think it's called a satsuma or something. Um, oh, it's okay, Diane. Whether you said hi to me or not, I try to say hi to y'all. If you showed up, I know you're saying hi. How about that? You'd give my socks to a friend, Chloe? You would never. I bet you were about doing the blanket. All right, so in the desperation of things, in having conversations with friends and neighbors and stuff. I had a good conversation with my neighbor the other day. Hi, Ricky and Sheila. We need to go to the river one day, and we'll keep pushing them on that. But Ricky was like, "I'll go to the river with you, but I'm going in my boat with a motor, and we'll pull you and Duggar, and you can be in your kayak or canoe." I was like, "That works, you know." But anyway, um, yeah, when there were desperate times in old times, people got together, neighbors got together with neighbors, and there was the quilting bees with not just the old ladies, but with the women, period, young girls, and at times the old men sat on the porch, playing the banjo or picking or whatever and telling stories, and the women was in the back room, but they could hear, because there weren't no TV nor radios back in them days. And so people got along with other people. They socialized more. And when times it was hard, they could share it. You know what I mean? It wasn't so individual, although there was, that it was always tragedy to just one. The tragedy was split up between the community, and that everybody, depending on their involvement, suffered in whatever loss there was, if it was a good person or a family member or the preacher's wife or whatever, or Doug Jones's favorite mule that everybody knew because he rode him into town every Saturday. I mean, but to the point though, we don't have that anymore. And so when desperate times come, it's really desperate because for a lot of people, they don't even have the company of their neighbors to just, I'm feeling freaked out here, Frankie. I don't know what to do. Calm down there, Hawkeye. Now, you know that old Frankie don't get upset about nothing, right? So you just calm yourself down there, Hawkeye. It'll be up here. But Frankie, I'm nervous all the time. I don't calm. Here, have some moonshine. Calm yourself. You know, but it ain't the same these days. So the desperation, in my humble opinion, is more desperate than in some of the most desperate times that there were. Why? Because people had each other. And no matter how desperate they were, they could talk about it and it was bad back in them days of the Dust Bowl. And other times too. So I look around, see it. I listen to what the stories my granny talked about, when I talk about my grandma Raleigh, Miss Mary, um, and how sweet she was. But she talked about how she worked in an arms manufacturing, or they made shells or bombs or something during World War II, up there in Ohio. And how everybody pitched in and how everybody saved their tin cans. And I mean, like, oh, no, you don't throw that tin can away. No, no, no. I mean, you know, people are like coerced into recycling these days, right? Where back then, it was an honor to recycle your cans because it was for the war effort and it was Hitler, and. So, no, we don't want anything like that again. But those were desperate times. We don't know about that. I was born in 52, just after the war. But the Korean War was going on, and there was still that war thingy in the air. But by the time I really started paying attention to anything, it was like 1956, okay? And things had kind of calmed down in the world. And of course, I was just a little kid. But when the 60s rolled around, with the race wars and the killings and the beatings and living in Tampa, 100 miles from Cuba, and those great big giant rockets sitting off the coast, you know? We were terrified back then. People are terrified now because the US makes a statement today again that the use of nuclear weapons is still on the table. What? I'm sorry, I got a curse here. What fucking dumbass would make that kind of statement? The US will continue to have nuclear weapons as the deterrent or retaliation, or have we not learned anything? So, what does that do to our spirit? It makes us feel more desperate because these are desperate times. They don't feel near as desperate than when Castro and JFK were having it out, and there's a Russian, freighter off the coast with real rockets on it, that felt desperate. I ask you, my friends and neighbors, do that feel the same right now? They're trying their best to make it feel that way. Why? Because they're crazy and they're them. And they're really pulling some weird ones, right? But I gotta say, there are folks coming up through the ranks. There are some local folks in Georgia. Herschel Walker, for example, who was a very good football player back in the day, made a name of himself, but he also made a name for himself because he was a good individual, not just a superb football player. And a lot of people respected Herschel because he wasn't one of these gaudy runarounds. Oh, look at me. He did some of that, but not near as much as some of these other folk did. So in the state of Georgia, even among white people, okay, and Herschel being black, they're like, no, I'll vote for that boy. I'll vote for him. And he's like going for the U.S. Senate or something. There's a black woman running for the U.S. I mean, for the Georgia, for governor of Georgia. Great. I will have to check on some of these people before but this one guy that got win this election last time for one of the senators in Georgia, John Ossoff, kind of sort of local, that he's more south than north, being up around Atlanta and all, but he promised to get things straight. And first 4 or 5 months, he started picking on the Democrats because what they did during the election fraud and everything in the state of Georgia. He's picking on folks. He's picking on his own people. Now, that to me is not a desperate cry. All right. That to me is people taking action against the chaos and against the crazies. And there are a lot of other folks who are putting their name in the hat who are like, no, no, no. And they ain't part of the establishment, but they know that the establishment's messed up. So where's it going to come from here? I felt desperation last year, but we're coming up into the midterm elections here like soon. And I think there's going to be, I know there's a lot of folks in the state of Georgia like, if we're going to be watching you folks in the polls, and if one of you step out of line, because they got a Georgia carry license. If you got a license, you can carry, open carry. So they're going to be open and carrying, go ahead, play with them ballots, you know, bang, bang. They shot me down, bang, bang. I hit the ground. Anyway. But no, I can't. I know that right across the state line down there in Tallahassee with DeSantis and folks down there, they went ahead and passed that law. He signed it that says you cannot discuss any kind of um, sexual behavior or not behavior, but well, actually, it is transgender, nothing like until like after the third grade in a public school. So if any teacher or anybody is talking to little kids about, well, hey, little boy, did you know that you could be a little girl? That shit ain't allowed no more. It will absolutely be against the law in the public schools. And there are folks just wanting to whine him out that he's all against the gays. And as I've talked about before, and so has, oh, can't think of his name at the moment, but that that's not how the gays in Florida feel about it, you know. Like, oh, really? Yes. So there's chaos on both sides. But in some of this chaos, there's actually, it seems like there's some morality coming out. There are folks within the Catholic Church, for example, that listen to the Pope list like the seven deadly sins or something, whatever it is. And, the Catholic Church should be worried about this and that and blah, blah, blah. And he didn't mention anything about abortion. I mean, the Catholic Church, or this right or that right. So here's the leader, supposedly, of the Catholic Church and of Christianity in a lot of ways. And everybody's supposed to bow down and kiss the Pope's ring and his little, his big toe and his little ring around his toe. Um, he probably has one, just saying. And he's probably got a nipple ring. Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that. He's just got that kind of grin. Um, but he doesn't know who he is. He's giving mixed messages to the world. Catholics want a straight answer, and he's wishy washy at best. Antichrist? Yeah. And I'll be interested because I've just been convinced for a while, just through my own research, through Catholic history and prognostication by priests hundreds of years ago. And so, but I know this, every time I see a little bit more craziness, I personally don't feel like my spirit has been shaken. I feel like my morality's been shaken, or, what are these crazy people going to do next? But if anything, it makes me want to like hunker down in my own spiritualness. And I don't want to challenge them, but it's more like, listen here now, you sons of bitches, go ahead, come get me. Go ahead. I don't necessarily want you, but if you think you're good, no, you ain't changing my mind. You're not. I'm strong in my convictions. I know what I know, and I believe what I believe. And then there are folks that come along. Well, I think I believe. Well, I think so. Well, I went to church the other day, and well, I went to church the other day, and well, I went to Sunday school. Good, and well, I went, and well, that's all. Okay. What was the sermon about? Oh, I don't know. He was talking about Paul or something, but that's good to know. What did they talk about in the Bible study? Oh, I don't know. There was something about Moses. Well, that's good. What'd you study about it? Something about Moses. Good for you. So you went to church? Yep. And I worshiped. We sang, and I really liked that song. Um, you know, shall we gather at the river? Because I really like kayaking and canoeing, and this time of year, floating in an inner tube. So, shall we gather at the river is a really good song to sing before you get out of church, because that's what you're going to do that afternoon. uh, what am I being facetious or something? We got 2 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, am I being snarky? Probably, you know. But again, it just becomes so much more absurd, don't it? To you is like you now you want me to believe this shit? No, I didn't believe the last one, you know. And it's a strange amount of people. In looking at, I don't know, I think I had like 850 me 850 different channels that I subscribe to. Okay, that's a bunch, and that I monitor all the time. And there were some that I used to listen, watching to all the time, and it's like they just disappeared. I mean, just aren't there anymore. Not their channel, not nothing. They just ain't there. I'm like, man, I used to listen to, and to me, they were good folks to listen to. They just ain't there anymore. So to me, we've had some good communicators who I think went over the line a few times because they put stuff in the title, well, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And, they didn't try to use code in any way, that Hillary Clinton is a class A motherfucking bitch. And Hillary Clinton is well, Hillary is a clone or something. That person they got out there right now is Hillary. Ain't Hillary. Okay, that's enough said. Um, yeah, that last picture, whoever that was, I was like, so that's the new Hillary? Can anybody like taken a picture from the 1990s and like compared them at all? And never mind. But so that's another thing. Oh, it's a 20. Is it? You want to hear something crazy? I was just sitting here having a conversation with Michael the other night. And I said, you know what bothers me? I'm looking through the news and everything. And here recently, now, y'all, Hillary's been in the news way too much. Okay. What? Now think about it. Hillary over here, Hillary. 2 years ago, there wasn't a freaking word about Hillary Clinton. Maybe her and Bill, or maybe something. Now, all of a sudden, here's Hillary, who was dying of some brain tumor or something, couldn't speak, had to wear glasses. Now, here's this woman who's like all chipper and wait, whoa, hang on. Hillary's older than me, so that makes her over 70. Look at this woman and go, are you sure that's Hillary? Are you sure? Now, I bring this up for a couple of reasons. But I'm looking at the overall condition of things, right? So the condition of things is Uncle Joe ain't doing real well. And they're really like going, holy crap, what are we going to do? Well, then now there's Kamala, and, and is she about as dumb as a box of rocks or what? I mean, honestly, that was their only chance. Now, what if scenario? They take Uncle Joe, adios him, politely take him in the wheelchair, and then they move Commander K from the VP position to the P, right? Now they got the VP open. Now, from what I understand, it isn't automatically the Speaker of the House that becomes the Vice President. Reason being, when Gerald Ford, um, he was put in as VP and then as president. They installed him back when I can't Nixon's vice president. I can't remember his name. So, but what if, so they moved Joe over. Now they promised Hitler the prez. You know they did. And they let old Bummer have it, and then they made a deal, and she kind of backed off, and they made her the secretary. You know the rest that part, right? So they moved Joe out in the wheelchair. Commander K goes to pee, and then who because Hitler has been a senator and a um, foreign diplomat thingy, they can nominate her. Okay, because of her previous experience. So now you would have two women, President VP, and then they would just shoot Commander K. Oh, and the big deal. And guess what? Hitler would then get what she was promised all them years ago, the presidency. But she'd missed being the first prez because of the Commander K routine. So I just scratch my head and go, you know, that's just a silly, weird what if this were to happen. But then why is Hillary really being pushed? You just have you simply must ask the question, why? Well, she's been in politics, but why are they pushing her now? For what purpose? Honestly, what purpose? Was she going to become a senator? Or is she running for anything at the moment? No, but all eyes are on Hillary. Why? Stranger things have happened. You know, the Clintons have had a bunch of people killed over the many years of governor and this, that, and the other thing. So you don't think they'd take out Commander K, you know, or she'd resign something. But here's the thing, there's something really weird and strange going on underneath this, you know? And I what is the Hillary thing? That part really don't make sense. A lot of other people, they bring this dead politician back to life on the heels of Uncle Joe and his, you know, I'm not all here, but that guy is out there or ain't here or something, you know. So, but why Hillary? So I ask you, my dear friends, just keep an eye on stuff. And just, if I miss something, please let me know because it's way too weird. It's just way too weird. Even said fake illness, well, would be unfit. Wait, who said that? Well, I got to go back up. I missed it. Yeah, let's use the MK altered clones. Yeah, astonishment is a daily thing. Um, well, here's the thing, Chloe. I don't think that's the real Hitlery. I there was a cousin or something years ago, okay, and it was behind the scenes. We're saying that it was Hillary's cousin or a sister, half sister, something, and that they had kind of fixed her up a little bit to, poke a little here and there. But when she Hillary first went on that 9/11 Memorial Day, they threw her in the van, they took her to her daughter's. She went in and then she came out this totally different person. No sunglasses, she's not wobbling. That was not her. And it ain't been her since, right? Been her. you know, well, Ben Hur was a gladiator for the Romans, wasn't he? Yeah. But anyway, um, but there's something about the cheeks right here, how her cheekbones come in. It's too narrow. But why would they literally bring up a dead politician when nothing's been about? Oh, she wrote a book, and her and Bill were seen on a plane. But as far as anything else, nothing about her. Why all the commotion now? Why all these public speak? Why the woman had brain tumors. She had issues with lights too bright, and she doesn't even wear the sunglasses anymore. What's up? Nobody said anything about Hitler going to a hospital and being cured of these things. Well, Dave, how do you know? Because they would have said Hillary Clinton cured of blah, 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 blah. And she doesn't have to wear glasses anymore. Anybody heard anything about that? No. So my point is, whether you believe in clones or this or that, here's the point. She was not doing well back then when they took her and put her in that van. And she ain't done well since. And if you think this person that's running around and jumping around is her, nah. However it got there. But there's no, and part of my evidence is there's no evidence that they cured her of the brain tumors and issues, and they would have said, Hillary survives operation on her brain. Hillary better. Hillary's out in public again. Hillary, Hillary, Hillary. Not a word. But yet here she is, this dead politician for 2 years ish after the election thing. And there's just something fishy there. I don't know what. It's going to be curious to see. It really is. I don't know what. Oh, I think she died on 9/11 that day. When they toted her limp ass body and threw her in the back of that van, I don't think there was much of her left. They took her to her daughter's where there was medical facilities already there. They knew she was going to pass out, and they plan everything. I do too, Chloe. And if she didn't die, she was so close to dead that they just quietly, you know, it might not have been that day, but she didn't survive that. If she may be comatose and in a coma somewhere and hooked up to life support, I could see that. And these maniacs would keep her alive to say, no, no, Hillary's not dead. No, she's alive. See? And actually, they got her in the back room and she's like, or in a big tank like you see them put the ETs in. They're just floating in there. mega mind, Hitler's brain hooked up to Dr. Evil's voice. I am Hillary Clinton, and I will be the president of the United States. Ha 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 ha. You know, okay. But they're just the way they brought back a dead politician for now. It just doesn't make sense. So I don't know what's up. I don't have any other inside information other than the other night having this weird glimpse of them doing this change of seats of command. And I was like, oh man, it's so weird right now. Would they really try to pull this shit off? You know, I'm like, nah. But they've tried some crazier stuff. I mean, you know, they shot Ronnie Reagan right down out on the street, you know. Old George Bush Sr. wanted the presidency that bad. So, and you know, there's a lot of the adrenochrome thing. There's a lot of stuff about people getting other people's blood. You know, there's just stuff. ain't it? Ain't it weird? You know. Now, are those of us who want to move into this next millennium, this century that we've just started, progressively, in that we know how to make things more sustainable without messing everything up. Now, for example, when Michael and I drove into Coolidge the other day, I said, now I want you to look over here. I said, see this field, big field. I mean, like 100 acres, kind of big field, not 20-acre, you know. But, and what they do is they have these machines and that go in and it turns the dirt up and makes a bed, all right, that's piled up higher than about this how much higher than the ground, okay? And then inside in this bed is a water line, a plastic water line with holes in it all the way down. And then it puts a plastic liner over the top of it and then puts dirt over it. So this bed is completely covered with this black membrane, right? And they've already got the plants in, you know, and you can see them picking up through the black. So now, a couple of years ago, I was a little pissed because at the end of the season, they go in and they rip all this stuff out. There's all this plastic and this, that, and the other thing. And somebody said, no, the people who make this stuff, they want that back. They will chip it up and reuse it and send it back. And they really, you know, so there is an honest to God because you put it in, we want it back because we want to sell you more. So, and having worked in some plastics recycling, it with certain types of plastic, you can do that. So they want it back. Good. So there is this integration, but also South Georgia went through the really bad 10 years of drought down here when other people were like, and the overhead sprinklers and watering systems and so forth, pivot irrigations, not working. That did it not working. So they started using the hydroponic system in their fields, in that nutrients, water, and whatever's needed is pumped down in the ground so it doesn't evaporate right at the roots of the plants. The black keeps out any weeds so they don't use any weed controllers or any pre emergent herbicides. They don't go back in unless there is a blight or serious pest infestation. The plants are left alone. Where the old type of farming, the herbicides, the this, the that, the spray, they don't do that. So now they don't have to go back in and plow over it again because the plastic keeps the weeds out. Now, so to the point of, is the plastic good or bad? And I was like, look at all that waste. Well, they cut that in half, but look at how much gas they save not having to go back in the field. Look at how much poison is not put on the earth because they control everything within these beds. And I mean, you know, the 100 acres of this stuff. It's beautiful. And the plants that come up, they're cared for. So, and they're not wasting water that's evaporated into the atmosphere. It's feeding the plants directly. So, to me, that's pretty damn smart. We're moving into this new era. Well, yeah, they got to put the plastic down every time. And yeah, that is, kind of labor intensive in a way, but they've got machines that put it down really simply. Um, and if you're putting down individual plants, you got to put them out individually anyway. I've set out at least 50 acres of tomatoes over the years back in the day when I was more into farming, and you just got to sit on that little thing and put them plants on there and plant them. That you got to put them in by hand. So when you're talking about 100 acres and how many plants between, and that's a lot of plants. But once you get them in, then they're taken care of. Okay. So which is more efficient, to plow and spray herbicides and pesticides, and or to do this with the bedding? I have changed my mind over the years, and I absolutely see the absolute advantage where all these other pivot irrigations, the folks out in Arizona, they're still using open ditches for irrigation. And they wonder why the dam out there, Hoover Dam, and the lake behind it, is, only half full. Because these dumbasses, won't use updated techniques for planting and watering, especially them folks in Arizona and New Mexico. Dumbass. We're here in South Georgia. We ain't no desert. We damn near turned into one. It was rough. So for farmers not to go out of business, they have developed and utilized these new systems that are very effective. It's kept them in business. And now these guys are actually, their businesses are thriving because they have a better product at actually a cheaper price. They don't have to plow as much, all the expensive, all the, the chemicals and pesticides. So I bring this up, and I've talked about this before. Chloe, they have chemicals, but it's more chemicals in the form of fertilizers, okay? Not as in herbicides, to spray weeds and stuff, okay? So there are some chemicals, but nowhere near, nowhere near. Yeah, are we coming up on another? No, but it's 1:42, and that's 20 minutes later. So why don't we use that, Chloe? I'll go with you. So, but anyway, there are lots of ways farmers are complaining and stuff, but living in a farm community down here with all different types of farming equipment and stuff being grown, I have to ask, why aren't more people, especially out west where they have all this water that's evaporating, why aren't they being forced to use these new methods? I'm sorry, but we ain't, we're not just going to pour millions of gallons in ditches down beside your fields anymore. We ain't going to do that. No, we're going to use a different method, and they should install it, because the amount of evaporation that they lose millions of gallons in evaporation, millions of gallons in evaporation. South Georgia, they give the evaporation rate in the summertime. and I can't remember, but there's a certain things, and then what it actually means is how many gallons of water is being sucked out of the earth and turned into the atmosphere. And I was like, what? Oh yeah, we lost 100,000 gallons of water yesterday due to the evaporation rate. Wait, 100,000 gallons of water? Yeah, just floated up into the atmosphere because it's so hot. Holy crap. Now, this is data they've been keeping for a long time, especially down here in the South. When I worked in radio, used to read the farm report, and one of them was then the evaporation rate for yesterday was blah, 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 percent, such and such. So farmers knew if there was a high evaporation rate that day, maybe they shouldn't be putting out water with a pivot irrigation, okay? Because 50% of it was going to get evaporated before it ever hit the ground. So that, well, maybe we'll wait till later, you know. So, but anyway, there's a lot of good stuff that to some folks might not make a lot of sense. And like I said, I bitched about the plastic in the beginning, but after having seen how much different the fields, the product, the what it's doing for the farmers, what it's doing for the farmers is they could stay in business. That's what it's doing for the farmer. Everything's going up in price, and they're looking at how do I use as little water as possible? How do I maintain? Not because it's well, it does cost money to pump it out of the ground, but um, it's more in the cost of labor and having irrigations running, having the pivot systems run, having the motors running. I mean, that all costs money. So, but if you've got all that contained, embedded things, oh my God. So there's the savings is so much. How come more farmers aren't doing it? We should be really asking folks that. Them folks out in Arizona and New Mexico, them farmers that are growing and aren't doing this, if I hope the state, I hope the folks that deal with water shut them off. I do. They shouldn't be growing out there to begin with. And if they're going to continue to use these ancient, archaic, outdated methods, then they need to lose their ass and let it turn back into desert. Period. Either fix it right, proven for years down here, and they don't want to move to it because it costs them too much money. Anyway, so that right there, it makes me feel that farmers are in desperation, but not all farmers are. You know, there are sometimes we got a heavy rain the other day, an inch and a quarter of rain, but the river rose 5 feet. It was like, what? Usually an inch and a quarter nets about maybe 3 at max. It rose 5 feet. It went back over flood stage. So now, fortunately, not many folks down here grow too close to a flood stage. They know better. But it does make it harder to get around when your fields are wet and you're trying to plow and get your crops in early, right? So it's detrimental on a good day, but you do want the rain because you're going to be planting and you want the moisture in and all that good stuff. So, um, but most of the time with proper planning, depending on bugs and of course temperature, if it gets 110 down here in South Georgia and fries everything, it ain't the farmer's fault. But there are ways that folks are modifying growing with greenhouses. There are huge greenhouses down here around Moultrie, and I mean really big. And everything they grow is shaded, and in the evening times, it's helped with artificial light because folks noticed that certain things weren't growing because the color of light coming off the sun is more blue than yellow, right? It's affected plant growth. And they've been studying this. The University of Georgia and the Agri Commission and all them folks have been paying attention. And there are folks that went to college on their own and went back to the family farm and said, look, we're putting up greenhouses. I ain't plowing this land up and have to spend all this money on these other things. And we're going to try a new way. And they're making it. And and it's successful. They've opened up, what I understand, another 10 or 15 acres of, um, yeah, greenhouse. ESV, that is a true statement. If you teach a man to fish, um, you can feed him for life. But here's the thing, and some of us down here in the South have discussed this. There are lots of people who know how to fish, but are too freaking lazy to go fish. They're too lazy to go dig their own worms. They're too lazy to go ask a local farmer or barter with somebody to go, fish at a pond or go down to the river or it costs too much for a license. Oh my God, the excuses. And so, but you can teach him to fish, but if he doesn't use it, he's still going to starve. You might as well just give him one fish and not waste your time to teach him a craft that he will not use. There's a bunch of us down here that have taught people how to fish who won't go fishing. They're too lazy. Then they die. That's right, Isby. So, but now if the person asks to be taught to fish versus, hey, y'all, I'm going to teach you to fish. Yeah, big deal. No, but if someone comes up and says, Hawkeye, teach me to fish, you're there, right? That person's going to know for life. So it's not, it is the people, and there are a lot of people guilty of knowing how to do something. But see, here's the thing, Isby. Right now, in this day and time, so many people have gotten out of going fishing when they used to go for pleasure. And the fact they could get fresh fish and but now it's just like, oh, it's too hot, it's too cold, I want to watch a movie, I want to be on the computer, I want to and so nobody wants to go outside, nobody wants to go fishing. I mean, we were down on the water the other day and there was only a couple of people fishing. I was like, this is a beautiful day. Where are all the fishermen? And the bank should be crowded with people. The river was down just right. It was up some, and it was a beautiful, gorgeous day. Two people fishing on the whole river. What? So a lot of folks are making up excuses as to why they can't provide for themselves. It's too hard. It's too whatever, right? Well, let's blame the economy. Well, that's true. Let's blame the president. Sure, he deserves it, honestly. And some of these other cads, right? But for those of us, and I'm meaning spiritually, not just fishing for fish, fishing or whatever, but that if you're that concerned and that worried and you're not trying to, damn, food's getting short around here, yeah? Where's my fishing pole, Ma? I don't know, Joe. Well, I'm gonna get it. And if I have to, I'm gonna cut me a cane pole. What the hell's a cane pole? I'm gonna cut me a big stick and tie a string around it and throw a hook in the water, and I'm gonna do my best to bring us some fresh dinner home. Around here, they do that sort of thing. Other places, not so much. So they don't have their own fate in their own hands. Now, there are days you can go fishing, not catch squat. And then there are days when you bring home a mess of them. And you don't eat them all at the same time. You put them in the freezer, right? So then when it comes time, then you have a big fish fry. Because recently I had some fresh fish my friend brought over to me. Oh my God. Oh, southern fish fries. Oh man. It was good. And I don't like cheese grits. I don't like grits, but the cheese grits I had with that meal, I ate them and they weren't bad, I gotta say. But to the point though, it was something folks said, we need a mess of fish and we ain't this and that, and they take care of themselves. Neighbors call up neighbors and let's go fishing. Neighbors call up neighbors, hey, I'm putting in a garden. Neighbors, I see that more because even me and my neighbors, who we haven't talked for years, never met, are talking and meeting. And I will get Ricky to the river one of these days if I have to hog time. But but with that though, it's the community of folks who don't seem desperate, but at the same time, they see the desperation in other people and they go, you know what? I think I'm going to plant a little bit more this year in my garden, just in case. Well, what's that just in case? Well, if you had plenty last year and you were giving vegetables away, you may be giving more vegetables out this year because people may need them, the extra vegetables, right? So for me, I bought extra seeds, and that might need. I need to check the weather. That might be what I do tomorrow, is plant some seeds. Hmm. Because we're going to have rain for a couple of days, they say. So it would be nice to put the seeds in and then let it rain, and then then little seeds can come popping up. So, but anyway, that's all good and dandy, and all that. I mean it. That's all good and dandy. And there are folks who bought more seed this year. If it wasn't but just a little bit, 10 seeds would be 10 squash plant with 3 to 5 or possibly more squash on each one. So that's a mess of squash with just 10 extra seeds, which would be about a nickel's worth or a dime's worth of seeds, so you get a couple extra seeds and plant just a little bit more for you and your neighbors, for you yourself. What if they all don't make? So if you're desperate, and these are desperate times, and everybody's worried about it, and their spirits are all wrecked, and they don't know where to turn. They don't know if God is God, and or everything's evil and everything's Satan, and it's all about Satanists and the evils and the evil, and say, okay, well, but you keep talking about it, and that's all you're focused on. I know them folks exist out there. I'm in my travels in the ether and other places, and here in this 3D world, a couple of priests in mine who were evil mofos. So this idea that I've seen evil, do I know it exists? Yeah. But do I want to focus on it all the time? No. No, 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 no. Because it just saps your energy out. It keeps your brain in another point of view all the time. And you just, and I did it for a while, and it'll hurt you. It'll kill you. No. So what do? We know they're out there. We see you crazy people, and you're not paying much attention to us because you think you got us hornswoggled. You think you got us convinced. You think you're winning this war, and you ain't really. Because I'm going to plant more vegetables myself this year. Don't know how good it's going to do. Going to ask the good Lord and all the local spirits to look out for the plants. I mean, I'm encouraged because the fruit trees we planted are still alive. They've got yellow leaves, but they sat in water for a while. Um, the two blueberry bushes that we transplanted from my friend are doing great. Um, and that with all this new open land, that now I have larger places to plant more stuff. So, whether it comes up, I'm just going to let the good Lord do the best. I don't have a sprinkler system out there and carrying water is going to be, yeah, it's going to be hard, but I'm hoping that Creator will give us enough rain because that dirt that I turned over is brand new dirt, ain't had nothing growing in it other than just grass and weeds. So um, it's going to be interesting to see what does grow and how well it grows. The potatoes that I put out here in my front yard that were just growing, from my bags of taters when I don't eat them all right. I don't throw them out. Well, I do throw them out, but I throw them out in my a bed out here. It's a flower bed, and so there are flowers along the back of it, and I dug it up in front and planted taters. I got they're little short rows, about 2, 3 feet long, and every time I have a couple of potatoes, I go out there and I turn up a little dirt and I plant them in the ground. I got potatoes growing as you come down the driveway and pull in the front yard. There's taters growing right there as a border, you know, and they're looking good too, I got to say. So, there are so many simple things you can do to just make it easier. You know, yes, Mother Earth's going to rain and snow and wind but what else you going to do? I ain't checking out. And I don't think none of you're going to check out early either, not on purpose. I'm here for the long haul, and at 69 3/4, I haven't mentioned that in a while. I'm still here and kicking. uh, Poor Michael the other night, we went through. I was just going to walk down here a little ways in the back. We walked down to the river and up the river and across the river, across the neighbor's property, and he was like, "Man, I'm kind of tired." And I was like, kind of hard to keep up with a 70-year-old, hippie crazy man, in the woods, right? And he just laughed. But we take it into our own hands, whether it be planting or doing something or helping somebody, whatever somebody else has got a garden, you go help them. Every night when I come home down the gravel driveway, I roll down my window so I speak to the deer. Yeah, help keep them calm. Yeah, that's a good thing, Chloe. Honest. Now I know this ain't the same, but out in the yard the other day, I noticed that there were box turtles. One over here, there was one over out by the shed, and he was crossing the yard at a pretty good pace, I gotta say. I don't know if there was a rabbit chasing him or not. Then we were working around a flower bed, and that had a lot of, oh my God, the wandering Jew. Please, Jesus, take these Jews to the promised land. These wandering Jews, the plants. Anyway, uncovered, and I pulled back this bunch of wandering Jews, and underneath are these two turtles just having at it, buddy. I mean, I was like, what? And Michael's like, what's that? He said, what are they doing? I said, they getting it on. Two little tortoises getting it on. Well, just leave them be, and backed up and did something else. Bat Tool, hey, how are you? Ain't seen you in a while. Of course, I ain't been on a while neither, so that goes both ways. You can always tell with. Yeah, it is good to see you. So, but anyway, um, be please, if things are getting you or your loved ones or people in a situation where that they're desperate, and you can hear it in their voice, you can see it in their eyes, you can smell it on them in a way, because it's fear. They don't know what to do. So it's our job to do our best, um, to just help with suggestions, not tell them what to do. You say, "Well, I got a friend who's tried this." You can say, "Hey, I got this friend that he takes the potatoes that have eyes on them and plants them in his front yard along with his flowers." And I do. And he's got taters growing. And I do. Now, whether they make real good, not sure, but the plants are up and healthy, and I haven't put any fertilizer or anything on them, just they're doing great. So, potatoes, I used to go to the seed store and buy, get this, seed potatoes. So I asked this guy one time his family owned the the feed store. And I said, "Stewart," I said, "what's the deal with, these taters versus the taters I got left over, when they got eyes on 'em?" He said, "Nothing." And I said, "Wait a minute, what?" He goes, "The difference is the taters we sell as seed potatoes." And I said, "But you could eat them, right?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he said, "They're just potatoes. They just name them that and sell them." And so for the last quite a few years, every time I get taters that have got eyes on them, I ain't quite ate as many mashed taters as I should or whatever. And I go, "Well, here's another one for the garden." And I always cut it in pieces. Um, some folks will take the whole potato. Now, for every one of those eyes popping out of your potato is a potential potato plant. Okay. So now I usually choose, like, if there's one or two on one end and one or two on the other end, I cut it in half and plant both ends, you know, both halves. And you always put the tater down in the dirt with the little thingy sticking up. It was interesting that I saw one of the turtles in a totally different part of the yard. And then I saw one crossing from the woods towards where the other turtle kind of sort of was. But where we saw the two turtles getting it on was in a totally third different place. It was like, um, you know, but I do have a place back in the woods that I call Turtle Hill, simply because you used to find a lot of box turtle shells there. Oh yeah, Bat Tool. If you're out there in the background and just listening and watching, we love you. All you got to do is silently wave at us and give us all a hug. Honestly, however, it is nice to know, especially, you know, we like to say hi too. And I was talking with somebody the other night and they go, in the chat, they said, I just want to be in there because I want to say hello. And I was like, "Really? Yeah. I like, interacting with the people." And I will, well, that's good, because everybody is friendly and welcome. And I said, "I'm so proud of my folks in the chat. Y'all don't get into a bunch of trouble or nothing, and we've kept things down before, but it's only gotten hairy a couple of times. So whether you commiserate with us, Bat Tool, or not, we like to know that you're out there and healthy and being okay. Well, Chloe, I haven't been on in a while, honestly, and Barry might have pissed him off. Barry, you still awake? He's probably asleep. It's 2 a.m., my friends, and 2 hours and 4 minutes and 51 seconds I've been here. I feel like I've been off the air for like a month. And I know it's on, it's only been a week or so, and where I could have done some others. Now I got some topics for discussion coming up, and I want to put this bug in your ear. He might pop up because we call. Yeah, there you go, Chloe. And it's about that time of morning too. Certain people come on at certain times of this early morning, between now and 4 in the morning, and I don't think I'm ready to do an all nighter. And I got stuff I got to do tomorrow, and tomorrow night is story night, and I don't want to give all my energy away now because if I do 4 or 5 hours early morning, 6 hour strolls, I'm tired the next day. I'm wore out. You know, it's a good wore out, but I'm still wore out. So trying to stay from away from them. Chloe, Chloe, I agree with you. There are other folks that have told me that they don't necessarily participate, but they love the fact that there is no arguing and fussing and fighting in the chat room. And I can only say that to all of you who participate, who are heard, or who are listening in the background and do not participate, but maybe once in a while or not at all. We love you. You don't have to participate. The fact that you're here, we love you. You're included. That's all there is to it. Time difference makes it hard. Understood, Bat Tool. But thank you, honestly, for saying hi. There are several other people I haven't seen in a while, and it's just like I just send out the vibes that everybody's okay. Now I want to mention this. Earlier today, I guess about 12 o'clock Central, 1 o'clock Eastern ish, I was hit with an extreme amount of sadness. And Michael and I were sitting here talking and getting ready to, we were doing some stuff before we had to go tonight. And so I said, right now, I'm literally, I'm wiping tears out of my eyes and I'm going, there is something really sad going on in the universe right now. I don't know what it is. And I looked at the clock and, I don't set my clocks up. 2:11. I'll stick around for the 20 at least. But I'm tired and I haven't taken all my meds and everything. And I have been here for 2 hours with y'all. So it ain't like I'm trying to run out cheap. But um, there was, I don't know, the sadness was overwhelming. And I don't know, about 20, 30 minutes, I literally had to fight off just bawling like a baby. Very sad. Now, I don't know if it was somebody within our community or somebody just out in the world, or nothing has caught my eye that would associate it with today at around 12 or 1 o'clock. So, but anyway, I say that because curious if anybody else had any kind of really sad something kind of going on earlier today. And I don't really have any reason to be sad. I mean, I, that was one of the first things I remarked on. After the feeling hit me so strong, I was like, this ain't me. No, I'm tired because I've been really active, but nah, this ain't me. So it's got to be out in the universe. SD. Oh my goodness. See, I knew if I hung out a little long. See, you're one of the folks that come on about this time. Also, it for me feels like I got some kind of gooiness going on in my chest. Don't know what it is, but anyway, But the amount of chaos that these folks continue to try to keep us in, more folks are hunkering down that it's the apocalypse and we all gonna die. Now, back about 2, 3 weeks ago, that was supposed to have been like this really big event in March, and some of us were supposed to go to different planets and realities and dimensions. And I'm looking around and go, well, things have changed, and I can see some, modifications and stuff going on, and stuff around here in the property and other places, and people being more crazy instead of sane. But the same people are just getting more calm in a way and more sure of themselves, which is a good thing. But that I don't think none of us went to another Earth. I don't think we flipped to another dimension. All of this early spring going to happen, February, whoop, and March going to be a busy month. And well, here we are in April, and there's supposed to be something else happening soon. Who knows? I spent several years like waiting because I was like, yeah, 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 it's going to happen. 15 years later, still waiting. And what do I get out of that? I'm going to plant more seeds this spring. That's what I get out of it. What do I think about the insanity in the world? I'm going to plant more seeds. I'm going to plant more potatoes. I'm going to plant leftover this. I'm going to plant extra fruit trees. I'm going to plant whatever I can. Well, number one, because I can, and I should have done it sooner, but that's beside the point. But I got a goal, and my goal is to put as many bushes, trees, plants, or whatever on this place to support me, maybe some of my neighbors and family members, at least extended family. And for me, I just don't want to be a burden on the system. So if I'm out of the system as much as possible, then the system has got one less person to worry about. So if I'm not using all kinds of hair products and, making my hair shiny and stuff, hey, SD, yeah, we have 3 seasons in 1 month. You bet your ass. That warfare, the spirit behind. Oh, man, that's horrible, Chloe. Solar flares are getting crazy. Yep. Yeah, okay, it'd be. But so anyway, we're getting hit by all kinds of stuff. And but it's really freaking some folks out. And we just have to just take that deep breath and go, do you still believe in the creator? Yes. Do you still believe in the law of one to do no harm? Yes. Do you still? Yes. Do you still believe in helping others? Yes. You still believe in? Yes. And you still believe in honor of the elders and the ancient? Yes. You still believe in honoring each other? Yes. Then what are you worried about? Stop worrying. They want you to worry. And for those folks that are out there that are like cringing and peeing in their panties a little bit because things have gotten so, you know, crazy and Putin and all this. Oh, there are also, as I have discussed a long time ago, not to brag, I'm just saying we discussed this in that there are other people who are catching up to what I said 2 months ago about Putin and sort of reiterating what I've seen and also what Dante has said, showed us, but a lot of just my own observations, right? And so other people are coming up with the same conclusions. And I'm like, wow, there's another bigger than me per. There's some real news folks talking about it. Oh, about how, Putin's a communist, but he has opened up the Christian churches and has stopped. Um, he's basically stopped the communists from persecuting the Christians. So it's like, wait a minute. So, and the Hunter Biden thing, um, it's very possible that old Uncle Joe could get the chair, you know, for his lying and cheating and stealing. Because, ladies and gentlemen, that's treason, you know, punishable by death and the firing squad. Old Joe wouldn't know what hit him. It's 2:19 here on 4/5 of 2022 at, yeah, 2:19 in the morning. I'm one ahead of you. That was a good one. Woo wee. Ask guardians to seal everything evil in my loved ones. So, been praying more than I usually. I would absolutely agree that it seems like it's requiring more energy. But I've also noticed, just for me, Esty, that there are some folks. I mean, I try to be an equal opportunity. I'm going to send you prayers kind of person, and I try my best to not be judgmental as to whether or not you or does this drunk need prayers? Does this drug addict I know need prayers? Does this ex something need prayers? Do they all deserve the same amount of prayer or the same amount of, sometimes one person may be in a more fragile condition than someone else. So you say, I'm going to concentrate a little more over here. But I honestly have to say this: in sending out the prayers, and they go out and mental and whatever and a thing, and then there are sometimes I get a message back. It's almost like a return to sender. You send a postcard or maybe a Christmas card to somebody, and you get it back in the mail a couple of weeks later, and you go, "Whoa, well, old Joe didn't get my card," you know. So, and it's sort of like there are some folks who have, like me, I have made my decision 100.1% to be with the cause and the mother essence and the goddess and the energy and the law of one versus all this other stuff. And then there are folks who think I'm the evil one and studying Baal or something like that. And because I do a drum that I must be attached to some savage kind of, okay. Um, there's no way I could ever change their mind into believing that it would be at least possible for them to understand. Oh no, it don't exist. No, 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 la 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 la. No, you're out there drumming and speaking in tongues, and no, no. Well, what about the Pentecostal church? They actively speak in tongues. Well, but yeah, but they talk in tongues about Jesus. Okay. Um, I've been to some. That shit scares me. I'm just telling you. Some lovely people, Pentecostals, and ex-wife included, but I just got to say, That's nah. Nope. Ain't gonna go speaking in tongues. Nope. But so for those people though that are seeking out of desperation, I need something to hold on to because the world's going crazy. I don't know what to do. It feels like my spirit's been ripped apart. And in so many ways, maybe it is. But if you just believe in the Creator, honor the Creator. It isn't about worshiping and bending down and or killing anything or um like for the Catholics, Fat Tuesday before um Easter, Lent, you know, you have to give up something during this period of time before Jesus, crucifixion and resurrection, because that's what Easter is about. It ain't about the killing; it's about the getting up from it, right? It's about the superhuman. Oh, and by the way, I just want to pass this along. You know, I love Marvel comics and stuff like that, and the Marvel shows they've got, and both cartoons and the Avengers and all that. I'm sorry, I've been hooked for a long time as a child with comics, and we're all going to miss Stan Lee, but thank God Marvel Comics is still putting stuff out. Just saying. But with that said, though, with anime and this, there's a lot of stuff that has to do with you know half human animal types, which are the chimera, uh, which is interesting, and that people gaining or wanting superpowers. So, uh, my spirit guides asked me the question. They said, "Hawkeye, we want you to do a show one night about what superpower would you choose if you could get one?" Now, they asked me this a couple of weeks ago, right? So I've been pondering this in the greater scheme of things. And I'm like, well, it'd be really cool to have like x ray vision, but it would also get to be a pain in the ass if you're trying to drive home on a foggy night and it's difficult to see. I don't know. I'm not too sure about the flying thing because in my older age, I've kind of gotten a little bit of, that woo, with heights, where I didn't as a young man. What about, do I want laser eyes so I can, weld a piece of steel, with just taking my, no, not really. Um, and this is what I came up with. And it's the superpower that I've always asked for. And I realized I haven't really changed my mind in quite a few years because I always say out loud here at the house or whatever, Creator, if you will give me the strength, I'll take care of the rest. Whatever it is, give me the strength. So I think my superpower, as I've thought about it and mulled over, what about this one? Well, that'd be cool, but it would just simply be strength, not not necessarily superhuman strength, but just strength, just good and strong. You know, at my age, I'm still fairly good and strong, but I'm old. My back hurts. I've had injuries. So, but if I could have, I would throw health in there with strength. I want to be healthy, strong. But is that a superpower? But I mean, so I don't really want a superpower, is what I realized. I just want to have strength, the strength to deal with whatever comes up. Now, it maybe would entail if somebody fell off a building and I had to fly up to get them. Well, maybe I. but maybe I'm strong enough to catch them. Who knows? But superpower. So at some point, I'm going to do a show. I think this might change about the idea of a superpower, the idea of a chimera, like if to give someone snake qualities, cobra venom, um, or, the strength of a tiger or a lion or something, and so that you would have this, you would become this beast man. And for that extra, maybe kind of sort of like Wolverine, although he didn't choose to become Wolverine, they made him Wolverine, just saying. But that if you had a choice, well, would you? If it were illegal and all that, or would you just, you know, I just want to be have the strength to do whatever it takes to live life, you know. That's all. And you want to know something? I surprised myself. I thought, man, I'm going to come up with some kind of, I want to be able to do this or that or this or that. And I've just kind of been letting it rest in the back of my head. And um, in my watching of things, late night, early morning, trying to go to sleep or wake up, I'm watching something, and it's usually some kind of sci fi. And it's usually got some kind of superhero in there, right? So it just dawned on me, I guess almost a week ago now, what superhero would you be? And I just like, not really, you know, not really. Now, what does that mean in the grand scheme of things in the topic for discussion for tonight? And it's that I realize that I lived a lot of my life several years ago, being desperate all the time. Almost lost the property. I spent my money down to the last dime every month. I couldn't manage my money. There, I was, they gave me seizures, and they gave, all of this stuff that happened years ago happened. But that I realized that I was living a life of desperation. I was desperately trying to get to the next paycheck, desperately trying to get to through the month to get to the doctor again. Desperate, everything was desperately trying to do something just to live. I was desperate, grasping for air, grasping at straws, and like, wow, that's kind of pathetic, and it is, especially for me. But I was like, holy crap. Um, Now I had good reasons, being, all of us losing our jobs due to NAFTA, having had the medical profession try to kill me instead of cure me, um, Social Security screwing me out of half of my monthly pay because they changed the law. I mean, all this stuff made me very desperate. And in looking back on this subject, I was like, man, there are people going through now what I went through back then, but they don't seem to have. And I was very spiritually fragile at the time. Okay, I did not have it together worth a darn. Now, if something earth shattering like that, I'm in a lot better control, and I'm absolutely positive I ain't changing my mind about the law of one and things like that. They just it just ain't changing. So go ahead. Well, no, I'm not any you can't sway me, buy me out or whatever, because I'm too old for that kind of crap. I just ain't gonna take it. Well, if you'll do this for us, Mr. Doll, And yes, if I do that for you, the what life I have the rest of, I will feel guilty even into the afterlife. No, I ain't doing it. You know, I'm not going to be guilty in the afterlife of something stupid I made, especially having lived the life I have and then trying to just be better, just trying to be a better person is all. Um, I don't want to be superhuman. I just want to have the strength to get by, the strength to be able to get through every day, the strength to plant another tree, the strength to help another person, the strength to be here and have chats with you folk, and how important it is for all of us. And I would have never met Michael. And he would have never journeyed down here and spent the time. That was absolutely fascinating. We both went out on limbs to test our resolve, our trust in the people, I guess, long term vibrational things. And it ended up, in the plus column for both of us, despite his issues. I'm thinking about him because he should be getting close to um, Chattanooga by now. Wait, I missed what? I was trying to halfway keep up. I know I can fly. I still have the memory of feeling that right before my feet leave the ground. I had a magic pillow, Chloe. Yep, flying. And there's also been some interesting, how do I put this? References in different shows that have been bringing up astral projection more. Now, this is about ghosts, and it is a show called The Ghosts. I've got to say, I love to laugh out loud. Okay. I love a good belly guffaw. All right. I love a good prank. I love a good one liner. Um, and the new show, I think, on CBS, The Ghosts, is absolutely hilarious. If you haven't seen it, you want to laugh, go watch the show. It's on Paramount, on Roku. You can see it, whatever. But I'm here to tell you, uh, I missed several in a row because I'm busy, and then I watched two or three episodes and catch up, a month later. Well, I caught up on three shows the other night, and I just laughed my ass off. It was funny, and some good one-liners. And there's a lot of shows out there with canned laughter and stuff. And I bring this up because in it they were talking about something about projecting or whatever. And the one the one lady, it was her ex-husband, and he was like, "No, I will always be mean and nasty and do this and that." And she was, "You can just go to hell." And he was surrounded by a red light, and he would just suck straight down to the floor, and everybody in the room went. You just had to be in there. But I had to rewind it and watch it again. It was so that it was. I'm still laughing, but anyway, there's been some other programs and things that referring to the astral side of things, the higher, I guess, the higher self, but the higher self in that, in closing your eyes and projecting yourself, in that remote viewing, right? The fact that an astral body that you could close your eyes, sit in a chair and close your eyes, and literally astrally go somewhere else to help a person observe or whatever. Anyway, it's come up in different venues. And I'm bringing it up because I'm that crazy guy that looks for the weird out there. And I've just noticed that it's been discussed where it was just like every once in a while, the topic's coming up a little more often. Don't know what it means, but curious, right? Anyway, some of these things that I observe is not necessarily bad, but it's curious, especially for myself, in that why all of a sudden are there 5 different venues relating somehow to the astral world, the spiritual world, the seen and the unseen. Like in the ghosts, the lady gets in a car accident, bumps her head, and now she can see ghosts where her husband can't, right? And so she's the one between. She sees the spirit world and is still in the third. So it's a dimensional shift. And she's the go between, right? So I was looking at it going, wow, that's interesting. She bumped her head and now she can see him, right? What? Um, they've always been there. We just can't see them. What? I mean, it brings up so many other little topics in my brain that we have talked about over the years. And like, wow. And they're putting it in this really well written, and the characters, they stay in character. I, I don't know about awards, I don't watch them shows, but they should have got one if they didn't. That's all I got to say. Other shows that I've perused and so forth, nah. Ghosts, it's funny. Anyway, good morning, Michelle. I've been sending you all kinds of prayers, by the way. I can get to a phone. But so there's been some odd things discussed. Elon Musk has discussed some things that are a little more weirder than normal, I guess. You got to wonder what that guy's on. Or I look at some of his recent pictures of Elon Musk, and just personally, just looking at the guy, he looks alien. I can't explain it. He sort of resembles a human, but there's something about his bone structure. It's almost like he was put together, and I can't explain it. And it ain't nothing about some conspiracy something. It's just when I see the guy, it's almost like that guy's an alien. Yeah, maybe like Zuckerberg, but there's just something about Elon that just there's just something extra weird about how he his motions when he speaks and things are almost mechanical. It's almost like an afterthought. It's really strange. It's hard for me to watch the guy when he's speaking. But which in my own little brain makes me wonder, why don't you like to watch this? What ticks you off about this guy? I don't know. And I think it's because I think I just think the guy's an alien is all. And he doesn't quite have all the human gestures down timed right. It's like his movements are out of sync with his words. There's something I haven't been able to really figure it out yet, but Zuckerberg, he just seems weird, you know. like maybe he's had a brain transplant or something implanted in his head, you know. Um, it's almost like Zuckerberg has, maybe obviously to some of us, some kind of um, alien brain thing going on, but for Musk, he just seems like he is. But anyway, the bones around his eyes, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. There's just something about him. I don't know. But, and here's the thing, when there were pictures of him a couple of years ago, and the pictures that I seen like of him recently within this last week, it looks like him, but he looks more alien than he did years ago. Where I was like, But this last round of pictures that I seen here, well, today I was perusing a little bit, and I seen one of Musk, and I was like, "Damn, dude, he almost looked like he was manufactured. His bone structure and everything, just too weird." But anyway, all right, my dear friends, I love you. Um, I'm very tired. It's almost 3 hours. SD, I'm sorry, I'm going. Yeah, it's 1:44. It's 2:44 here. Well, actually, it is 1:44 here. Um, Creeps me out some as the and lots. Also, many shiny eyed. Oh, the shiny eyed ones. Oh, yep. The shiny eyed ones. Yep. And Dante's talked about that too, that if their eyes glow in the dark kind of thing. But look, um, I'm I'm fading fast. And so I would rather bid you all a good morning than just pass out here during the live stream. So I will speak to you all soon. I know I promised you weeks ago to do card readings, and my spirit guides reminded me, like kicking me yesterday, going, you promised them folks to do card readings. And I was like, yeah, but I've had company the last 2 weeks and busy the week before that. And you're right. So I'm trying to get back on track with that. And so I promise you, as soon as possible, I'm going to do a card reading for y'all. So thank you, everybody. Esty, it's always good to see you. Michelle and Chloe, thank you so much. Yeah, but I mean, I just, with having company here and it just hadn't been the right mood and other things going on, but things will kind of go back to normal for me. And I will do some meditation and then do because I try to meditate the day before or that day of when I decide to do cards so that I can be in the mood, kind of thing. So, but anyway, yeah, when it's time, it'll come. But anyway, they want me to do it. Yeah, cosmic group hugs. Thank you, Michelle. And I'm going to talk to you soon. But anyway, y'all be safe, and I promise I'll be back. All right. Things like I say, I'm gonna be a little lazier for a couple of days because I've been pushing it. This old 69 3/4 year old man, damn near 70, has been pushing it. Let me tell you. But it's all good. But so anyway, I continue to pray that each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe. Each and every day and night when me and Duggar go out and he goes chasing cats, we continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. And to put a plug in for Duggar here at the end, when Michael was here this week, he was like, tonight, he was like, I'm really going to miss you, Duggar. And we were sitting here this afternoon. He goes, Duggar really is a good dog. He really don't bark. He doesn't really get in your way. He comes up and, snuggles and wants to this or that. He goes, Duggar really is a good dog. And he's a good swamp donkey too. because he was down on the river in the kayak. And Duggar crawls out of my lap and goes out on the nose end of this kayak. We're like tipping back and forth, and he's standing there like he's a hood ornament. My big old Duggar. But anyway, so, but Duggar really is a good dog, and I'm saying this because I'm trying to honor my good friend, my good four-legged friend, Mister Duggar. But anyway, and but we do continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, and all of your relatives and all of your relations will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. And that was number three in the law of three. So, um, oh yeah, and and he became Michael's pal within like an hour, and him and Michael were petting and doing and going outside. It was great, not just for me, but to see him interacting with another person and to see another person interact with him and what that interaction was, and it was sweet. It was sweet. I'm, it warms the cockles of my heart that there are young people who still would listen to an old geezer's anything and help out and be what he was. So, Michael, my hat's off to you. I hope you make it to Chattanooga safe. I know you're on the road right now, so be safe, my friend Michael, and y'all too. Okay, so keep it between the ditches. Yeah, he's really good. He really is. You wish there were 20 of me. Well, I'm going to try to do better. And that, I've been lax because I've been busy on doing some shows. And I'd like to get back to, you know, trying to add, I was trying to do at least two a week and maybe three. And I'd like to try to go back to that. So, but, when summertime comes and it's hot outside, I'll be more than happy to want to be in here instead of out there doing something. But plant planting trees and I still got video to upload y'all ain't seen. So when you see it, you go, holy crap! No wonder he's been busy. But anyway, I love you all. Be safe. Thank you, SD and Chloe and Michelle and anybody else hiding. Tool, if you're still back there, we love you. And anybody else that's sitting back there, you ain't got to say anything. We do love you because you're a part of our group just the same. So be sweet and take care of yourselves, okay? And when everybody else is in desperation and looking for something to cling to, just ask them, do you still believe in the creator? Do you still believe in the law of one? Do you still believe in, a good over evil? Do you still, it ain't about a God, it's not about a religion, but do you have these core beliefs? Yes or no? And if they say, well, yeah, then tell them you got this. Have faith, my friends, and pass that faith along. Next time, be safe.